Hey guys, welcome to Carter's Retro Quest. My name is Will. Retro the Cat is here with me somewhere, stalking me probably. But today is Friday, December 29th. We're going to talk about what we sold, and we're going to talk about something every reseller hates, and that's negative feedback. But we're going to talk about it. So let's get into it. We're not going to go in any particular order. We're just going to talk about the cool things that sold. We're going to skip over the boring stuff. Nobody wants to see that. But I will pop the things up here on the screen and we'll talk about them. Again, not in any particular order, just as they appear on my computer here in our sold orders. All right, this first thing is a Nintendo Wii U Guitar Hero guitar. It is new open box. I picked this up at a yard sale. It was part of a video game deal. I think I paid $115 for everything. It was a Wii U, 10 or 15 games, the guitar, and there were some good games in there. But anyway, this guitar sold, new open box, 65 bucks plus shipping, and that went out of here this week. All right, so this next thing is just a Diamond Craft stainless steel pot, cooking pot. Not too cool, but has a cool story behind it. We bought these at an estate sale. There were 6 or 8 pans and pots, I should say. All of this vintage Diamond Craft stuff. We paid $1.50 for all of them total. And then one lady hopped into our store a week or so back and bought all of them except for this one. And I thought that was kind of weird. You know, why didn't she buy that one too? And I told Amy we should just throw it in the box and say Merry Christmas, because we paid $1.50 for it and she more than paid up for them. So she ended up coming back in our store a week or so later buying this one, and we refunded the money back to her, just charged her the shipping and sent this one along to her. Here's the weird part. Holiday shipping, don't even get me started. But she still hasn't received, as of today, her other pots are still floating around being transferred distribution center to distribution center to get to her. But this pot that we sent her for free, she got in like 3 days. Go figure. One of my favorite things to sell, vintage retro toys. One of my favorite genres of those, G.I. Joe. This is the last figure we have from that buyout. It was an auction buy. I bought a lot of toys. It was just called Lot of Toys. It had 12 or 13 straight arm G.I. Joes, all needing new O-rings. It had the APC carrier, and it had a bunch of other vintage toys. I think I paid 40 or 60 bucks for the whole lot, and sold them off quite a bit. There was a Cobra Commander, Snake Eyes, the original straight arm G.I. Joes. But this guy, this is G.I. Joe Clutch, and he sold for $16 plus shipping, and he needed a new O-ring. This was part of that same lot that we just talked about with the G.I. Joe figure. It's a Sesame Street Rubber Ducky and Other Favorites vinyl album record. Vintage, but that sold for $10.99 plus shipping. Again, we are way in the profit on these, so it's just money in the bank. This, one of everybody's favorite games, it's Paperboy for the Sega Game Gear. Everybody loves Paperboy on the Nintendo and NES and Super NES, but it was over on Sega too. This copy sold for $21.89 plus shipping. This is one of those wonderful yard sale signs. I was at a yard sale this past summer. They had wrenches just thrown in a box. They were smaller wrenches, and it said 4 for $1, so a quarter a piece. So I dug through them. I found 3 smaller snap-on wrenches, and this vintage has it open-ended flare wrench from Germany. The other 3 wrenches sold for 10 bucks a piece, $9.99 plus shipping. So I was already $30 out of $1. And this guy sold for $19.99 plus shipping. This is one of my favorite things to buy just because it's usually mass profit. It's boring as all get out, but vintage Tupperware. Wouldn't be buying it if it wasn't for Kevin the Commonwealth Picker. But I went to an estate sale early last season, and they had a table full of Tupperware, and it was all marked like a nickel and a dime. I walked out with 6 stuffed Walmart bags full of Tupperware for $5. And we've just been selling it off a little bit at a time. But these 3 plates weren't in the greatest of shape, but they still sold for $8.99 plus shipping. All right, you guys know every video I do a shout out. I want to shout out to these 2 right here, Grams and Pops Vintage. I've been watching them for quite a while. They are flippin' hilarious. And the way they bounce back and forth off each other, Corey says that's just an editing mistake. And it turned out that way, but they've got a really, really nice way of editing their videos with a 2-camera system. They're super helpful. Corey's been great, giving me some advice on volumes and things of that nature, but I've learned a lot from them too. So if you want to check out somebody who puts out great, cool reselling videos, check out Grams and Pops Vintage. Corey's also got a podcast that he does with Ken. That's a reseller clickbait podcast, but check out Grams and Pops Treasures. They're funny. They're great. You won't regret it. Picked up this wireless Microsoft 800 keyboard and mouse set, new open box. Drop shipper picked this up off of us, and we sold it for $19.98 plus shipping. Paid $1 for it at a yard sale. Love picking these up when I see them, if they're the right ones. But this was a Canon PowerShot A560. Had the book and the box, the instructions. It worked. It was in really good condition. I actually paid $5 for it at a yard sale. Sold it for $55.98 plus shipping. This was a really good sell. Was so happy to get the notification that it sold. It was a Jimmy Easter inflatable from Disney. We picked this up on the Route 41 yard sale last summer for $5. It sold for $110 plus shipping. It was new in the box. I opened the box just to make sure, but it had never been taken out of the box or the plastic. This one was pretty rare and hard to comp. Not a lot of Easter inflatables out there, vintage ones especially. But we did finally come upon the price for it. We had it listed at $150 for quite a while, and we had tons of viewers and watchers, no takers. Finally, we dropped the price down to $110, and it sold within, I think, about a week of doing that. This one was pretty cool, and we almost kept it for ourselves for our desk. It is a 1979 Maud and Bob St. Clair turtle paperweight. We paid $1 for it at an auction. Had trouble finding comps for it, but we did find a lot of their stuff sold in the $15 to $25 range. So we finally decided to list our turtle at $24.99 plus shipping. He sold almost instantly, so we definitely left money on the table. But we paid $1 for it at an auction, so we're not complaining. This one, just a simple Wii console by itself. We sold it to a video game store who's going to use it to check GameCube games. But paid a couple bucks for it at a yard sale, I think $5 for a lot. And sold just the console out of it for $32.98 plus shipping. Hated to see this one go. But this is a Nintendo DSi XL, the black and bronze edition. I hate to say mint condition, but this thing was almost perfect. I picked it up in an auction for $25, sold it for $90 plus shipping. But again, you don't see them in this condition very often. Near mint. I love these. I think they're cool. So one buyer came in and bought 2 lots of these for $34.98. They bought from 1967 all the way to 1976 in vintage Indiana license plates. Again, this was part of an auction lot. I paid $6 for a flat full of old license plates. We've more than made our money back on those. Another one of those that we're really, really proud of, this was a Nintendo SNES, the Super Nintendo console. This was one of the ones I showed you a couple weeks back that was all yellow and stained up. We retro-bright it and tested it all out, and it worked great. We did have to do a little bit to it, but this thing came out near perfect. We sold it for $124.98 plus shipping, and I'd picked it up online for, I think, $20. I apologize if you guys are picking up Retro the cat. She's over here doing what she does best, and her motorboat is running. So if you're picking that up on my mic, I'm sorry if she's drowning me out. But what am I supposed to do? I mean, she's Retro the cat. You've seen us sell a few of these already. It's a picture disc, of course. This one's really cool. It looks like a saw blade. It's from the band Whitechapel. It's one of the ones we bought in an auction. I paid $6 for this one. Sold it for $31.89 plus shipping. This could be the theme of this week's video, is near mint consoles. This is another one. We picked this up on eBay in a parts and repair buy. Paid $22 with shipping included for this one. Sold it for $72.99. Took it apart, gave it a bath, put a battery in it, tested it out for a few hours, and it was ready to go. Hated to see it go because this is probably the best condition GameCube we've ever sold. But again, we paid $22 for it, sold it for $72.99 plus shipping. On to the next one. This is the last one we'll talk about. I hated to see this guy go. I have one sitting up here on my shelf behind me, out of view, but it's a vintage Alf from 1986. Picked this up at an auction for $5, sold it for $27.89. I hated to see him go. I'm a product of the 80s, and Alf was one of my favorite shows. But even though he's gone, I still got mine. All right, so before we talk about our topic, I want to show you all these. We got new stickers. Check those out. Those came from Jess B. Crafton over on Instagram. She does a wonderful job. These remind me of the vending machine stickers we used to get in the day. They had rock and roll bands and different stuff on them. It's kind of got that retro vibe to it. But she does a great job. So if you're looking for stickers, check out Jess B. Crafton over on Instagram. And if you want one of our stickers, message me over on Instagram and I'll see what I can do. Negative feedback. And feedback in general, and eBay's new stance on it. To borrow a line from LA Knight, let me talk to you. It's driving me nuts. I know they change it for just to ease up on manpower and all that stuff, but there's still really no consistency about it. I've got a couple examples I'm going to give you, and we're going to talk about ours. I kind of look at negative feedback as a positive. It is a chance to get better. It's a chance for somebody to let you know, hey, you messed up on this. And it's a chance to grow. I don't look at it as, all negative, but it does bother me to get them. If I earn them or we earn them, I don't have a problem with it at all. We've got some feedback that we earned. My very first negative feedback came on a Seinfeld DVD set. I listed it as complete series, seasons 1 through 3. The buyer bought it thinking it was a complete series, and it wasn't. It was just the first 3 seasons. I offered him a full refund, but he decided negative feedback was the way to go. That was his choice. Again, I earned that, so no complaints. This has to be the funniest negative feedback that I've ever dealt with, but I don't sleep really well at night, so I'm up and I answer questions and stuff all through the night, basically. But I get an email at like 1:30 in the morning for a message on eBay, and it says, "Yo," and I answer back, "Hello," and they reply back, "These jeans be fake." And I kind of scoffed, and I had sold this person a set of True Religion jeans about 3 weeks prior. And so their message is, "Yo, these jeans be fake." And I replied back, no, that those were real jeans, that we'd sold several pairs of them, hadn't had any issues. He messaged back, or they messaged back, that they used an authentication service to determine that these jeans were fake. So I asked him if he had more information, and he sent pictures. There was like a picture of a jean, and then like a red line on it and everything. I suppose that was pointing out what was making them fake. So in this picture, I noticed right away that the jeans we sold him were like really light stonewash jeans, and these were dark, like denim blue jean. So curiosity got the best of me. I hit the Google machine and type in fake True Religion jeans. And the very first article that pops up is Reddit. And it has the exact same pictures that this person has sent me in eBay messages to determine that these jeans are fake. So I messaged back and said, "Hey, these pictures are from Reddit. And this is a thread on there about fake True Religion jeans. And these pictures are part of that thread." And they messaged back, "Wait just a second, we have more." And that was it. They just went on eBay and left a negative feedback that said, "Sold me fakes." I contacted eBay and went through the seller help and said, "Hey, this customer flat out lied." Sent pictures from Reddit. The lady was very helpful. She was like, "Oh, well, we'll look at it." She showed me how to go through seller help and asked for it to be removed. They decided not to remove it, that it did not break any of their policies and procedures. So it's okay to lie in feedback as long as you don't curse. These next two we're going to talk about are the ones that really, really get me boiling. And it's about shipping. Last year during the holiday season, we had it made in the shade. Our shipping was flawless. We didn't have any issues, no backups. It was great. This year was not so great. Now, this has nothing to do with my mail lady. She is awesome. Our local post office is amazing. I wouldn't trade them for any other post office in the United States. They do a great job. But what had happened on yesterday morning, I got a negative feedback that the item was slow being delivered. We shipped the item out the next morning, and the buyer had the item in 5 days delivered. So I messaged them and asked them to revise their own feedback that, hey, during the holidays, things can be a little delayed, but, we shipped yours out the very next day, and you had it in your hand in 5 days. So is that really, worth a negative feedback? They refused to revise their feedback. So I went through eBay seller help again. They looked at it and said, yeah, you can't get a negative feedback for a shipping delay, and was somewhat their answer. I wished I hadn't got rid of the email, but it was basically, not your fault, we'll take it down. And they did. And that brings us to yesterday evening. I get another negative feedback. I haven't received the item yet. That's what the feedback is. So it was a PlayStation 1 console. It was bought, shipped out the next day, and this thing has been bouncing around. It's being scanned every day onto the next location, into the next location, into the next location. It's been about 9 days now of bouncing around, and the seller left us negative feedback because of that. So I went to eBay. and said, hey, this item was shipped out next day. They haven't got it yet, but they're giving us negative feedback because USPS is running slow for the holidays. A couple hours went by and I got an email that they weren't going to take it down, that did not break any policies or procedures. So in that one, we're being held accountable because USPS is running behind. So what do you think about that? Is that fair for a seller to be, judged based on the shipping speed of the Postal Service? There was a lot of delays this year for us. This was just a couple of them. Most everybody has been very gracious and understanding that, hey, it's the busiest time of the year. We always ship out same day or next day. If you look at our feedbacks, they're going to show that super fast, shipping, immediate shipping. So I let those two bother me because I don't feel like we earned them. But what do you think about that? Is that fair? Should buyers be able to leave negative feedback because the Postal Service was slow? All right, I think that sums it up for this week. Again, we're going to try to keep it short like always. We've talked about what we've sold. We've talked about negative feedback. We've talked about our awesome stickers from Just Be Crafting. We've gave our shout out over to Grams and Pops Vintage. We've showed you Retro the Cat. But seems like there should be something else we should talk about. Oh, yes, before I go,